this is another DrumWise Meets, and today I'm here with Pete Ray Biggin. Pete plays for Level 42 and also for PB Underground. Hi Pete.
Yes, Tom, how you doing, mate?
My first question today, the typical first interview question. So what age did you get into drums, and what bands or artists inspired you when you first started playing?
Oh, wow. I mean, I'm so old now. I forgot what that's about, mate. Well, yeah, it just goes back to day one, man. My dad was a rock and roll drummer around South Yorkshire in the 70s. My mom, when she was pregnant with me, would take me to my dad's gigs, and I'd be kicking in time in her belly, so she knew I was a drummer. And since as long as I remember, mate, I remember just sitting at the side of my dad's drum kit when I was like one on a beer crate, and just watching my dad play drums, man. And it was just, I remember they bought me my first kit at 18 months old, so it was. It's just from day one. So yeah, I mean, my dad was a rock and roll drummer. My dad showed me, some rock and roll and stuff, and the rock in the sort of like 80s and stuff. But then I remember I must have been about 6 or 7 years old, and he played me one record that just changed my direction and thought of. And I knew straight away I was a funk drummer when I heard this band, and it was a band called Average White Band. So listening to like Pick Up the Pieces and Person to Person when I was 6 or 7 years old just changed my mind. So from then on, I was just searching for funk, and then I came across like Incognito, Level 42, and then started understanding more about the other guys, the good, Stevie Wonder and Earth, Wind and Fire. And then I found Tower of Power, man. So that was just all into my teens. So I had a kind of good start,
Yeah. Good stuff. And can you remember what your first drum kit was?
Yeah, it was this old, it was like a toy drum kit, and it was a toy drum kit with sort of like really sort of paper heads on it, and it was quite a big kit. So I had a little marching drummer boy outfit on and everything. I've got a picture when I was about 18 months old of my kit that's like 20 times bigger than me. But.
Awesome. And talking about equipment, if it was a normal world right now and you were out gigging, what is your current gear setup?
Is this the setup that my drum tech would set up for me, or if it's a gig that I would be doing by myself? Two different kits, man. Two different kits.
Tell us both if you want. It's fine.
Well, I mean, if I was doing a Level 42 thing, I mean, Jem, my drum tech, he's got grey hair now. He's only been doing the gig 4 years. He's got grey hair because the kit's so big, and every time we do another gig, there's always another bit of equipment on it. But I guess that goes with the gig. So yeah, that'd be. I'd go for the full pelt if I was out with Level. But if I was doing a gig by myself, I don't know, maybe kick snare hats or something, or just something simple.
Yeah. Cool. Good stuff. So you've mentioned a couple of influences, when you first started. Now, I think this is quite a hard question, but here we go. Who is your all-time favorite drummer if you have to just pick one?
I would say, I mean, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's like, it's really tough saying that.
Yeah, it is.
But for me, the dude who stands out right now, who's just basically just took everything of what past and present and he's a good mate of mine, is Ronald Bruner. I think he is the most complete drummer to this date. I mean, but it's tough, man, because you've got so many, man. You can go back to, Lenny White, Billy Cobham, man. Jeff Vaccaro, Steve Gadd, Vinny. Dennis. There's so many. But I mean, look, man. There's too many to say.
That's why I started by saying it's a really hard question, because I wouldn't be able to answer it.
Yeah.
Cool. another one that some people have been finding hard. So, what's been the highlight of your career so far?
Oh my God, you're hitting us with a big question, aren't you?
Yeah.
Highlight. Oh man, I mean, there's been a few moments, man. There's been a few moments. You know, playing with um, playing with Leon Ware. You know, it was like doing a gig with Marvin Gaye, man, or Donny Hathaway, and the stories he kept. But he's not around now. He died last year, which was a. But I managed to get to play with Leon and do and hang with him. But he's the guy who wrote "I Want You" album for Marvin. He was a very big songwriter in the day, but he was around them guys, you know. But then again, it's like, you know, when I played with Shaka Khan, man, it was just like I was just said to the monitor guy, just turn her up as loud as possible in my monitor because I just want to hear her, man. You know, it's just like. And again, Amy, I can't choose, mate. I can't give you that answer. There's that handful.
Obviously, you played with Amy, and my band were recording at Real World Studios at the same time she was there recording
Right.
something. It wasn't too long before, obviously, she sadly died. But you know, the time I spent with her, like, yeah, totally. Like, there were issues there, but she was just such a nice person, and like all the crap that you hear in the press, like, I mean, I'm guessing you agree.
Mate, she was just. I mean, I said it many times, and everyone who was in a band agrees with me with this. She was just a beautiful spirit, man.
Mm.
She was just like us, mate. She was a musician. She just loved to play, man, and just have a game of pool and just be funny. You know what I mean? That was it. You know, she was one of us, mate, and you know, and it's tragic what happened. But I can, you know, it's a beautiful thing for me because I have stories of me and Amy that I've never, you know, friends know, and it's just like, but I've never really shared them because I think they're special, and because she was my friend before we went on tour, you know, I cherish them little moments I had with her, you know, and the conversations, and you know, and I'll pass that down to my kids, mate. But it's a I just think it's beautiful to have played with such a beautiful spirit and such a legend of our time, you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I thought I should just mention that while I had the opportunity,
No, man,
because
that's
you know,
fine.
when all the press was talking about it and stuff. I mean, I only spent a short time with her, but you can quite often you can tell a person, like, when you meet them, like, you can
Yeah,
work them out. You know,
straight away.
oh, it
She was a
was,
good one, man.
yeah,
She was lovely.
exactly. So you've played with lots of different groups and lots of different artists. So when you first get a gig with a new artist, how do you work out the material? So do you just listen to it? Do you listen to it and transcribe it? Or are you given an entire folder with here's the whole show, Pete, like written out in drum music? Here you go. How's it worked for you?
Well, again, something like that. I think that's down to experience. The way you, over the years, you teach yourself to learn. You know, um, and for me, I think drummers have it a little bit easier than guitarists, keyboard players, bass players, and all that because they have to learn all the chords and melody. Where drummers can just hear a sort of groove and think, "Oh yeah, we got this." But it's not as simple as that. What's hard about that is, I mean, look, any drummer can hear the beat and just play it. But when you teach yourself to learn from experience over the years, like if I've got to learn a set, then the first thing I'll do, man, is just listen to it a few times, or in the car, start getting used to it that way. I'll listen to it, whatever, and then if you know, I generally will score it out. Now I won't be charting it out like a drum teacher would and writing it all out the dots. I mean, I've kind of got my own way of writing it, and you would kind of get it, but I'd have to show you what stuff meant. But it's just the way I write stuff down quickly, and generally it's more, I'll write more the arrangement down. I won't write kind of like, I'll sort of write if there's like catches and stabs and a few little bits. I'll kind of write them in my own way, where you'd look at it and be like, what the hell is he writing there? But I know what I'm writing, you know, and I just scribble it down. So I mean, generally, I think like most drummers kind of, we kind of like, we know we've got it a bit easier than the other guys. So, but I mean, I will always try and chart out the arrangement. So at least if I go into, when I've gone into the rehearsal, you know, I put the laptop open and straight away people know you mean business. You strike out the laptop. And then, so yeah, put the laptop open and yeah, that's it. I'm in. At least I can just like check my notes and just know where I am in the arrangement. That's really, and my ears and my experience will just sort of get me through it, hopefully.
Because I think a lot of people think, well, I say people, a lot of my students certainly think that there's some like magical behind the scenes thing that happens, you know. So like, let's say when you first joined Level 42 or a band like that, they will go, right, here you go, here's the song with just the drums in it, you know. And obviously I know that can happen, but I'm, you know, 95% of the time, that's not what it is. You just bring it up on Spotify and have a listen.
Yeah, I mean, what you gotta remember, and all these young drummers, right? You know, I know you young drummers are watching all these top guys out there doing all the tricks and all the shit. But what you gotta remember is these guys who do all that shit, they have one thing about them, and that's groove. And the one thing that gets you a gig is groove. It's not gonna be how fast you do your drum fills or how, you know. That's all bullshit. What you need to understand is you need to groove, because that's what gets you the gig, right? Secondly, the next thing that gets you the gig is you being cool. You being a nice person, you hanging around, you being cool. You know what I mean? If you don't have them first two things, then you might struggle to get work. So for me, groove is the most important thing. You want to work as a drummer, learn to groove, learn to walk, you know?
Yeah.
That's it. Once you've done that, go and learn some fills, go and learn some flair, but learn the groove, man, because that's what's going to pay your bills. You know, and that's my little tag. Groove pays bills.
I love
that.
Man. I love that because I'm really, really pushing that these days, because so many younger drummers think it's all about juggling their drumsticks and this and that. And okay, there's something to be said for that. You know, on stage it looks cool, but
yeah,
it's not the most important thing. You know, you watch. You mentioned Average White Band. You watch Steve Ferroni, and
there you go.
Like the one word is groove, isn't it? I mean,
there's a reason why Steve Ferroni is on Shaka Khan records. He's on records, man. Steve Ferroni is the dude to record because he grooves. He's the dude, man. And well, the one thing when I played with Shaka, I'm playing away, and she turned around to me and she went, "You got that Steve thing," and I was just like, "That's a lovely thing," that because I was channeling, like when I was playing with Shaka, I was channeling the whole Rufus and, you know, like just the dirtiest groove. I wasn't trying to like do gospel chops all over it and trying to do the modern type of drumming. I had the big fat snare and I was just trying to lay it in. And she turned around and she went, "You got that Steve thing." And I was like, you know what? I that's a compliment to me.
Yeah, that's a big.
That's how it should be, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that guy is an animal. His groove is just.
He's the dude, man. Steve Ferroni, come on, man.
Exactly.
He's the dude. Yeah.
So, just going back to the sort of the gear question, I suppose it depends on the artist you're playing for, but these days electronics play quite a big part in a lot of bands and a lot of setups.
Yep.
What do you use from an electronic point of view, and kind of how do you use it?
To be honest, I did quite a bit of electronics back in the day when I was younger, in my 20s. But I never really kind of enjoyed it because I think even back then the sounds wasn't nowhere near as what they are now, you know. And obviously with music now, it's a massive part of modern music, and especially like the beats now. So all this sort of grime music, you know, there's drummers playing real drum kits, like and playing the same sort of grime beats and all this sort of stuff. I mean, I think what's going on now is I think electronic drums are trying to keep up with real drums, because you've got like guys like Chris Dave, and you've got these dudes who are messing up all the drum kits now just to try and find sounds. Do you know what I mean? Like to try and get something new with sound. So I think like you've got guys like Chris Dave who play that kind of electronic part, but they're using organic drums and they're finding new sounds. So that's kind of where I've I'm out, man. I like organic sounds, man. It's just me, and but yeah, you need to delve into electronics and see what's going on, and especially now with all the kits and the V kits and the strike pads and all this sort of stuff. They're amazing, man. So it's like, for me, I think, because I said it with Level a couple of years ago, I wanted to get some, like back in the 80s when Phil Gould were playing for Level 42, he used to have these big sort of red or white Simmons pads. Do you remember them? And he'd be like, boo, 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 boo. I love it. So I was just like, I just want to get them sounds back on Level, man. Just some of these silly ones. Not, but that's what they sounded like in the 80s. So for me, if I'm going to play some electronic sounds, would be some of the older stuff, just to kind of, because that's what was in the records. So personally, as a drummer, you should always maybe just try and nail what was on the record. And if it is playing some electronic sounds, then do it, man. Because the closer you get to the record, the happier the artist is.
There's a quote right there. Look at that.
There you go, mate.
Cool. Now, have you ever had anything go wrong on stage that you've had to recover from? And I mean, like, I want stories of, like, I want, like, the worst stories that you can give us right now.
Well, like shitting yourself.
That's a good one. Yeah.
No, I've never done that. The worst thing I did is nearly passed out on stage because I needed a piss so bad. And I think if you've got a kind of weak bladder, or you've just had a quick pint of water or a pint of lager before on stage, and then you're hitting your bladder, and you're like, by the third song you're thinking, oh no. Well, I tried to just rough it out, man, and it didn't work. So I had to kind of be like let's say a Formula One driver, and just let it flow and just get to the end of the gig. I mean, I was covered in sweat anyway, so I would have never sort of felt it.
So before we started talking on camera, I said to you about the fact that I'm sitting on your old drum stool.
I think it was that one. Yeah.
Now I know why you got rid of it. It's always smelled a bit like a public toilet.
Also, being sick on a gig, that's a good one, because you like, as a drummer, a musician, you don't really want to cancel gigs, man. And I've been on tour, and I've had a bucket at the side of me, and it's been an interesting one. Oh no! Especially when you do it on your drum tech,
Your poor drum tech.
What questions are you asking me, man? Come on.
Oh, you wait, they get better. Right.
Oh, great.
So, and here's one of them. Here's one of my curveball questions. So, what are your hobbies away from drumming?
Well, as you can see right now, in this whole lockdown, I found a new hobby, and that's building recording studios. Let me just show you quickly. I've been doing this for the last two and a half months, and as you can see, all these are bass traps. There's LED profiles all the way around the room. There's the LED profiles up there. All the rock walls and everything is going to go in it. These are all my tools. So yeah, I'll tell you what, man. If we never get gigs again, I'll build studios. That's it.
It looks quite big. It looks like a really.
So this is my hobby, mate. My hobby is building recording studios at the moment. So
awesome. Have you been doing it all on your own?
No, I mean, I had a guy who worked for Monroe Acoustics, which is like the Moloko Studios, Abbey Road and all that. And he came in and he started building the shell for me. And it cost quite a lot of money. And then obviously when the lockdown happened, all the work cancelled, I was like, okay, so I buy the tools and I finish it off myself. And I've done all right, man. I've done good. I've made some mistakes, but I've made it better than what it was. So it's good, man. You just, I think being a musician and being creative and being good with your hands, I think we're generally creative and, and people who don't like to get stuck. They like to work something out and move and get on with it. And I just think, like, musicians are creative, man. You can turn your mind to something else and do something. And to be honest, I had no other choice to do this. And you know what? It's been great. I've been loving building a studio, because I know once it's done, it's for me, and I'll be getting a lot out of it. So right now, I'm good, man. I'm all right.
Yeah, this is the fourth studio I've built, and it's served me well for 6 years now. So you're right. It's great. I mean, this isn't as big as your one, but there's enough room for 2 kits in here, and a waiting area and a toilet. So for teaching, it's perfect. And yeah, it's just fun, isn't it? And behind here, this is a double garage. So behind here, there's a garage door and there's another one
Right.
over there. But it's all soundproofed on the inside. But of course, behind it, there wasn't a brick wall. There was just this massive opening. So
Yeah.
the garage door's still there, but we chucked 100 sandbags in there and like
Bloody hell.
for the density, you know, and
Yeah.
then built a frame so they can't fall out. So if anyone ever opens that garage door one day on the other side of there,
Yeah.
it's
That's
good.
great, man. No, it's good. I think it's good. We have a bit of time now to kind of reflect on life and see, you know, and just come together, man. Like we're a big community that we're all struggling this at the moment, man. Now I mean, a lot of my mates, I speak to them a lot of the time, and we're just getting through it, you know. And however it is, you got to get through it, you know. We got to do it, man.
That's it, exactly. So this is the most important question now of this entire interview.
Wow.
Hope you're ready for this one. This is like a proper deep question. Okay. So, what's your favourite biscuit?
Favorite biscuit? Them funny ones.
Funny ones.
No. I'm liking them Cadbury's. They're like disgusting for musicians. They're like these Cadbury's biscuit, right? And they've got this little chocolate thing inside. Ridiculous. I think they're you get like 4 in a pack for like £2, so they're quite expensive. But
okay.
They're it. You know, give a musician a pack of them, man, and he's climbing up the walls.
Are they ones that you would dunk?
These just fall in if you dunk them.
Oh, okay.
I forgot what they call them. Cadbury's.
I need to know because I'm making a graph at the end of this.
Oh, I'm gonna have to send you a link, mate.
You have to text me the name afterwards.
I can see him right now.
Cool. And so my last serious question then. So if you could give one bit of advice to up and coming drummers, what would that be?
Well, I would always say, get out and meet people. Like, don't sit in your bedroom making videos, or don't just stay around the same people in music college. Get out and meet other people, because when your music college finishes or whatever the fuck is going on, you're all going to be looking for the same gigs. But if you've made it out and you've met people and you tell them, oh, I'm a drummer, you know, whatever it is, and then you start working with different people, once that course or whatever it is finishes, you ain't going to be one of them dudes looking for work. You've already sort of got into the scene. It's not, I mean, there's a few sayings here, man. It used to be, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? And that's wrong now. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. That's the thing now. It's not who you know, it's who knows you. And the fact to that means you just got to go out and you just got to meet people, man. You just, you know, there's nothing better than meeting someone face to face and you have a conversation. They've seen you play and they got a bit of a vibe, and you swap numbers. Next minute he's going, oh, I met this guy the other night and he's a good drummer, here's his number. And it's just, once you put something out of your hands like that and you leave it out, then it does its own thing, which means, you know, whether it's your record or it's a picture, once you put it out there, it's not in your hands. And that's why it's great to just get out and meet people and be cool, because that's when shit happens and your phone rings, you know. So
cool.
So yeah, get out and meet people. That's the thing. I mean, it's a bit messed up now because it's still gigs, so you can't really go out and meet people. But
yeah, go out and meet people and catch the virus. No,
that's it. Spread that shit. But I mean, look, man, we're going through a messed up time right now, and the musicians, we're getting hit hard. You know, it's like we're getting hit hard. But I believe we should all come together and just get through this shitstorm right now, because it will end, and we will have to look at where we do things again when it comes to gigs, festivals, whatever it is. But it will come back. We just got to be strong, man, and just get on with what we're supposed to, you know.
Pete, thank you so much for joining us at DrumWise today. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you, mate. It's been fantastic. Well done, brother.